Well, we might as well get into that game a little more. I actually turned it on at halftime. I didn't watch the first half, um, and saw the stat line before I saw the score. And I saw the 70% position, 75% territory. I thought, oh man, ABs must be down 20-0 here. And like you say, to see them up 10-7 or 10-7, 10-3,
10-5, I think.
10-5 at
Yeah.
halftime was uh, pretty incredible, Paul. Their try was sort of made out of nothing, in typical All Blacks fashion. When the back's against the wall, they make something out of nothing. But yeah, Ireland just dominated the All Blacks basically.
Yeah, I think what we've seen this season is when the All Blacks get in a game that's a bit of a grind, they tend to rely on individual brilliance to get them out of jail, and we've found that's not quite enough in most of these situations, especially as you say when the stats are so heavily weighted against them. Sooner or later, the dam's going to break, and the opposition are going to come through. And I think that's what we saw against Ireland. Let's not take anything away from the Irish. They played very, very well. I thought they outpassioned us. I thought they outplayed us. The stats show that they had the territory and the possession to rack a score up against us. I thought defensively they were very well drilled. Didn't give the All Blacks much room at all. And yeah, the All Blacks relied on one or two players doing something brilliant, but they just could not, I guess, get any sort of momentum going just with the way that the Irish were playing and the dominance that the Irish had over the All Blacks. So there's a wee bit of work to do, and I'm not sure what happens this week, but Ireland have shown the rest of the world a game plan or a template that you can take against the All Blacks, and if you execute it to a high degree, then you will have or go a long way towards beating the All Blacks.
Yeah, is it fair to say, Richard, that Ireland played that well that they probably would have beaten anyone on the day? Like Paul said, you don't want to take anything away from them. They played bloody well.
Yeah, and you look at that defense. I mean, you'd say you started watching at halftime. The first half defense from the All Blacks was just incredible. Like Ireland was at them and at them.
Down, it was 120 tackles to 30 tackles at halftime or something like that.
I think it was about 150. I think. But yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. So the fact that the All Blacks defended that well, and then the start of the second half, they sort of just probably switched off the switch a bit, and Ireland sort of ran in there. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to see Ireland sort of losing to anyone when they play like that. Like they were just ball control. They had good ball control. They had a positive mindset. There's a couple of penalties they could have taken, and they went to the corner and they scored that try from it. But yeah, they played like they wanted to be there more, wanted it more, and got the win.
I think when you have to make the amount of tackles that the All Blacks did make in that first half, later on in the game, you're going to start paying for it. And I think we saw that in the final sort of 10 minutes of the game, where the All Blacks gave away a few penalties, which the Irish then converted into points to make the game a wee bit more comfortable. I think you just have to expect that sort of thing. It's very, very hard to keep that sort of defensive intensity up when the opposition are just banging away at you constantly. Sooner or later, you're going to break, and the All Blacks sort of, I'm not sure if they broke, but they were bent back as far as they could go, and the Irish took the opportunities that were handed to them, and thoroughly deserved the win. Obviously, the loss of Barrett early on in the match changed. I'm not sure if the All Blacks, I guess they had a scenario set out with how they were going to play the game and when they were going to bring on replacements and that all sort of changed when Barrett went off, and then of course yellow card as well didn't help either. So
and then Leonard Brown as well at halftime. So
yes, I'm not sure. Once Barrett went off, they were able to adjust or adapt their game plan to suit the situation they were in, and the Irish they played out of their skin. They played a really, really good game. So they deserved the win. They got the win. Hopefully, we can learn the All Blacks can learn a few lessons from this, and maybe this weekend against the French. Although you never know what you get with the French, so it's just another kettle of fish. Just tough times for New Zealand rugby at the moment. I mean, the Black Ferns have been absolutely and totally outplayed by first the English and now the French women, who that rolling maul of the French women was just absolutely just a thing of beauty to watch. It was just absolutely brilliant. We just thoroughly enjoyed it. So they've got a lot of work to do before their next World Cup. But yeah, in regards to the All Blacks, I think if we can see some improvement this weekend against the French, then I think we can give them just a pass mark for the season overall.
I think if you're going to take any positives out of the All Blacks' performance, for as bad, I don't know, maybe they didn't play that bad. They defended bloody well. Their attack was, you say individual based. They were relying on individuals, but they were still in it with 6, 7, 8 minutes to go, and had Omani and Lowe not made that huge tackle on Rieko Ioane in the midfield, there was a very good chance the All Blacks score and take the lead with a few minutes to go. Ended up it was a penalty, kicked the other way, and game over. But it just shows the class of the All Blacks and the black jersey, and they're never not in it. But as you say, we'll look on to this week's game shortly. I just want to touch on a few Kiwi boys wearing green on the weekend. Richard, they must have been absolutely pumped. You could see it in James Lowe's face when he scored that try at the end of the game. Huge from those guys to beat the All Blacks.
I could see what it meant. There's that iconic photo of James Lowe, double fist pump, both when he scored the try and when he got that penalty. And so you can just see what it sort of means to them. They've obviously gone on their journeys, and they've ended up in a pretty decent rugby team themselves. And James Lowe had a couple of really nice moments. I still don't know if I'd have him in the All Blacks over any of the outside backs we've got, but yeah, good on him. He's playing some good footy.
Yeah, it certainly makes June next year, Paul, exciting, or a little bit more exciting when the Irish come here.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And I guess when you're a kid growing up in New Zealand and you're playing rugby, I guess the ultimate is to play for the All Blacks. And if you can't do that, then I guess the next best would be to play against the All Blacks. And
if you can't do that, host a podcast about the All Blacks.
Yeah, okay. You've lost me again. It's just, and I thought those boys, they all played. You couldn't have picked out an Irish player and said, well, you had a poor game today, son. It didn't really go. As a unit, they all played really, really well, and it was great to see. So yeah, once again, spreading the gospel.
Yep, love it. Looking ahead to this week, what changes are you expecting to see, Richard, if any? Obviously, probably a couple of injury enforced.
Yeah, I was going to say probably he can't. Doesn't sound like Barrett's very likely. So obviously Mo'unga will start, and then they'll obviously have probably McKenzie on the bench to cover either 10 or 15, whatever he needs to do. Same with the midfield. It's kind of become a bit of an issue, the midfield. It was looking pretty solid for a while, but Havili he started here, and in every game he just keeps sort of going down and down. He came on and just had no impact in that game. Had a couple of pretty bad errors, really. So, it's just, I mean, they'll probably still go with him. It's probably him and sort of Tapia, probably the two there. So they might figure out who's going to play 12 and 13 out of those two.
Surely they keep Rico in the centres.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he's better on the wing, and then to come in as a cover centre, I was quite liking when they were doing that. He didn't have a bad game the other day, but I don't know. We'll see what they do. I think maybe with Leonard Brown out, yeah, they might go with a more solid experience of him. But I'd probably rather see him back on the wing. Halfback, obviously, like TJ was really good on defence, but the ball was just far too slow last weekend. So with Aaron Smith in the squad, they probably need to.
He just comes straight in, doesn't he?
Get him in there. Yeah. I mean, I think they have to, like, especially with DuPont, like that'd be a great battle to watch. It's what everyone wants to see. And the forwards, I think Sam Cane would have relished that game, but Dalton had a pretty good game as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Obviously, Whitelock and Retallick, they probably didn't have their usual dominance, but I don't think they're not going to drop either of them. So probably just be that, maybe a few background shuffles, I reckon.
What about you, Paul? Any changes?
Yeah, I guess. Look, I agree with Richard. The midfield makeup, or the midfield, hasn't quite gelled the way I'm guessing the All Black selectors thought it might. If only we had another option like a Nani Lomar. Oh no, never mind.
Too soon.
Let it go, man.
Well, I don't know. It's just he plays a different style of rugby to all the other midfield prospects that we have at the moment. So he could have added another dimension to that game if he was around. So we've got what we've got. I agree with Rishi. I think Ioane, his best place is out wide on the wing, where he finishes off things very, very nicely. But due to the injuries that we've got, I'm not sure. I'd like to see Quinton get a run there with Havili. I'm just not sure he will. I'm guessing that the selectors will stick with Rico in the 13, just because we've got an abundance of riches out wide. I don't see a lot of other changes. Obviously, probably Mo'unga starts if Barrett doesn't play. And I agree. I think there'll be a change at halfback as well. The forwards, I think, are fairly solid. The tight five, yeah, maybe Coles gets a start. But outside of that, I don't see too much. Our tight five were totally outplayed last week, and it was probably had something to do with the fact that the amount of defense that they had to do, especially in that first half. So I'm looking for those boys to bounce back big time against the French.
Yeah, I also had Brad Weber circled. Not sure where he's at concussion-wise, but I think if he's fit, he's got to come straight back into the bench. Aaron Smith into the 9. As you say, Richard, that ball was too slow from TJ. He's good defensively around the ruck, but yeah, we missed the speed.
Especially in a game like that, yeah, with the defense rushing up.
You've got to have that speed. And on the midfield, Rico's you've got to have him on the park somewhere. And if we're lacking in midfield, he can play midfield. He would probably start for most international teams in the 13 if he wanted. I agree, he's better on the wing, but yeah, he's a guy, experienced, big body, fast. Need him there, and probably Havili at the 12 for me. Interesting to see. Of course, we are recording on a Thursday afternoon. Team won't be announced until, what are we, tomorrow morning? 9 o'clock-ish tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting to see what happens there.